What's going on, guys? The Comics Kid 2099 here. Welcome to day 136 of the 365-day graphic novel review challenge. Today, I want to talk to you about an Avengers book that I got from my library. This is Avengers, Ultron Forever. This is a three-part story that went through all the Avengers annuals of that year. New Avengers, Uncanny Avengers, and Plain Old Avengers. And this is a time travel story where, at some point in the future, Ultron takes over the galaxy, and then Dr. Doom, he reaches through different points of time to grab different Avengers to help him put a stop to Ultron's reign. And this is a really fun, really awesome story. It feels a lot like classic Marvel from like the late 70s, early 80s, which is an era where, in my opinion, Marvel could do no wrong. And just about everything that was coming out at that time was really cool and really awesome. This feels like a story from that time period, and so it's going to hit really close to home for me because I'm such a big fan of that era. But it's also got some modern elements too. It's got characters like the female Thor from Jason Aaron's Thor run. It's got Jessica Jones and Luke Cage's kid from the future. She's a character that I like quite a bit in this story. So it's got some modern elements to it, so you're not going to mistake this as something that actually came out in the late 70s or early 80s, but it feels like a story from that time period, which is something that I really liked about this. Also, I like time travel stories a lot. I know that everyone does not. There are people I know who do not like time travel stories, and if you are one of those people, you will want to stay away from this because this does have a lot of time travel stuff in it. It uses time travel as the crux of this entire story, and it doesn't really delve into a lot of the logistics of time travel. For example, Jim Rhodes, who was playing Iron Man in the early 80s, he had replaced Tony Stark for a little while. He is one of the characters that Dr. Doom grabs from the time stream to help him defeat Ultron. And I'm curious, does he go back to his home time and tell everyone that he knows that he met a female Captain America from the future, or did they mind wipe him so that he wouldn't disrupt the time stream with his knowledge of the future? They kind of gloss over all of that, which is fine. Pretty much every other time travel story that you're going to read is going to have something like that, like are we creating a new timeline, or are we just fixing this timeline? Pretty much every story is going to have something to that effect in it. This just glosses over all of that. This is basically just a fun adventure romp that uses time travel in it, but it doesn't really discuss the ramifications of time travel. So if that kind of thing would bother you, if you want to see more of a discussion of the ramifications of time travel, then you probably won't want to read this book. Now, like I said, that doesn't really bother me here because time travel is handled differently every time that it is used in the Marvel Universe. You even have some of the same writers. The same writer will use time travel two different times and handle it differently both times. So that doesn't really bother me that time travel is not really explored a little bit more here and how it's messing with the Marvel Universe. It was just a thing that allowed us to have an adventure here that I really liked. One thing that you might not like about this, and again, it doesn't really bother me, is that this story is called Ultron Forever, but Ultron is barely in this story. He's really more of a red herring to something else that's going on here, and like I said, that doesn't bother me because I'm not an Ultron fan. Now, I don't dislike the character or anything like that. I've just never really read a whole lot of stuff with Ultron in it, so I wasn't going into this like, heck yeah, Ultron's going to be in this, I can't wait, and then being disappointed that he's not in it a whole lot. Ultron's not in it that much, but that didn't bother me because it's a character who I'm pretty indifferent to. But if you are really excited about Ultron and you really wanted to read this to see what's going on here with Ultron, pretty much you are going to need to dampen down your expectations a little bit. Ultron is in it, but he's not the big bad of the story that you would expect from seeing the title here. And that is a little bit misleading, and I think maybe they could have given it a different title so that people wouldn't be going into this expecting Ultron. I expect that maybe they did this to try and tie in with the Age of Ultron movie, but I'm not sure when this storyline came out. I didn't look that up. But that's my theory, and maybe that's why they put Ultron's name in the title, even though he's not really a big part of this story. But overall, I really enjoyed the story. I'm not a huge Avengers guy. I don't read a ton of Avengers stuff, but I really like this. It was a very good standalone story. It does reference some stuff from the Marvel Universe, and there's actually a few issues collected in this book that are referenced in this story. For example, Hulk issue 6 from the 1960s is collected here. There's an Iron Man issue from the early 80s, and then one of Walt Simonson's later issues of Thor is collected here. And those don't really have anything to do with the main Ultron Forever story. Those issues are just referenced here, and so they collected them, in my opinion, so that they could kind of beef up this trade because 3 issues is not a very long story, even when they're annuals. These stories did not feel like they were annual size, so I'm assuming each annual had other stories that were not collected here. So I'm assuming that's why they collected those other issues in this book. But anyway, I would recommend this book. If you are a casual fan of the Avengers like me, I think that this book would work well for you, and I'm assuming that it would work well for hardcore Avengers fans fans also. I really enjoyed it, and I can't imagine any reason you wouldn't, unless you're just a huge Ultron fan and you went into it and you were disappointed, or you're not a big time travel fan and you don't want to read stories about time travel. But overall, I like this book, and I hope that you guys will check out Ultron Forever, and I hope that you guys liked this video, and if you did, be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe, and I will be back tomorrow with a different video. In the meantime, you guys have a great rest of the day. Catch you later.